So the next thing that I'm going to show you how to do is how to use the adjustment brush in Camera Raw. Now the adjustment brush is a really powerful tool that lets you make changes to the colors and the tones of just a single section of a photograph. So far we've had a look at all of these tabs over here and everything that you can do with the sliders. So what we're going to look at are some of these. I'm actually not going to show you most of these. I just don't think we necessarily need red eye removal or spot removal when you know how to do content aware fill. But this one here is the adjustment brush. So if I click on the adjustment brush, it's going to bring up a new panel, which is the adjustment brush panel. And what this is a series of sliders, pretty much the same ones from the basic panel with a few of these sharpness ones in here, and a brush. Now this brush is quite large. I can change the size with the up and down brackets keys, just like I can when I'm painting in Photoshop. And what I'm deciding, what I think I want to do for this image, to really give it that bright, airy, ethereal, really magical feel that I'm going for in this picture, is I want to throw a bit of light on Miss Price. Now that's a really lovely picture just as it is. You don't really need to do anything to that, I think, but I want to show you how this works. So I'm going to select my brush up here. Nothing has changed, but what I am going to do is I'm going to paint over her face and her torso. I'm going to really up the exposure a little bit to make her brighter. So I'm going to click on this mask button down here, and this is going to make anything that I paint pink so I can see which areas I'm applying my adjustments to. So I'll just make it a little bit smaller. So I really want to be throwing the light over her. So I'm going to paint over her body here, and you'll see how it feathers out naturally. Now if I go too far, whoops, I don't want any of this, I can click on this erase. Now the erase has a hard edge because generally you want to rub out hard edges. So I'm just going to probably rub out around there because I just want it to be on her and not so much on the flowers. So once I'm happy with my selection, I'm going to turn off this mask. Now I do have a pin here. That's where I started the mask. Now this is because I can make multiple adjustments. If I clicked on New up here, and let's say I wanted to change something around the top here, I could make an adjustment to this area separately. So I can add as many adjustment brush layers as I like, but I'm going to click on that red pin and delete it. Red is selected. So click back on that one. Now this one is selected and I'm going to make my adjustment. I don't need to have my mask on once I have made my selection. It just gets in the way, so I'll turn that off. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the exposure. I want her face to be brighter. Now obviously you don't want to go too bright because it doesn't look right. Same, you don't want to go too dark. It still has to fit the image that you're going for. So this is where you just need to play around until you like what you see. I quite like about there. I think that looks lovely. I'm going to do the same with the whites because I really want the whites of her eyes to pop out a little bit, but not too much. I don't want her to be shiny. I just want her eyes to pop out a little bit. If I go too much, it's just a bit far, so maybe about there. And then I'm going to go down to the clarity. Now this is where I'm actually going to decrease the clarity on her face. Now this just gives a little bit of softness. If I decrease it too much, she looks like, you know, ridiculous. So I'm just going to slide it to the left just a little bit, just enough to soften her skin, give her that glow, that really soft glowing feeling. That is the same as the flowers that are around her, so I think it really, really fits. And then I want to get rid of this so that I can see, so I'm just going to go back here. There we go. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm just going to leave that as is, and that is going to be my color layer. So I'm going to click OK. It will apply, and then my color layer is going to be down here, and here is my Camera Raw filter. So the reason why I like to duplicate these is because sometimes maybe I want to change the opacity of my color layer. So I'm going to turn on my cleanup layer, and I'm going to turn this Camera Raw filter on and off. So if I click on the eyeball, it will turn it off, and that's before. Okay, and then turn it back on, and that's after. Now that is quite a strong edit. I've made a lot of changes to the color. I've really pushed a feeling and a mood that I wanted to create, and maybe it's just a bit too much. Maybe I want to reduce the opacity of that. So the reason why I like to work in layers here is so that I can reduce the opacity of this top color layer, because the cleanup layer underneath is exactly the same, it's just without the color. And when I decrease the opacity, it's going to let this bottom cleanup layer come through just a little bit. Now, I'm not going to be decreasing the opacity so much of the top layer, but as of the Camera Raw filter. So I could do this on one layer, but I like to do it this way just in case. So if I double click over here, okay, Camera Raw filter, you'll see opacity comes up. Now, of course, blending modes, you know, we have experimented with those before. These are not what we're going to go with. We've got pretty much our mode that we like. We're going to go stick it back on normal, but I can drop this opacity down. Okay, so if I wanted to find, oh, that's just a shirt, I'll leave it there, that's fine. Slide it back to all the way and slide it up until I get to a part where I'm feeling like I really like it. You know, I actually quite like this one, quite strong. You know, I think that that's really giving me that look that I want. Other people might find it too much. You know, some people might think that it looks better around about here, 85% somewhere. So if I just click OK, I can leave it at that. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave it at 100 because I like that look. And we're going to click OK. So that is my color layer done. In the next video, I'm going to talk to you about some ways that you can play with overlays and color modes and different finishing touches.